and people who have not seen each other for 60 years. When they come back to the party, when they put the name tag on and the cobwebs of 40 and 50 years wipe away, it's just like it was the friendship party, just like it was when you left them 40 and 50 years ago. People don't understand that you have to be part of that community to understand it. You can't just come in and say, hey, I got to feel for Lacoochee. You've had to grow up together and fought together and played baseball together and gone to school together and been friends for those years. We used to go as boys. And girls would go to individual houses, and if I was at your house at dinner, which is noon to me, not night, we had dinner with you. If we didn't, you was at my house. We ate at my house. There wasn't no calling up and saying, "Hey, Joe's coming to dinner today." They just showed up. It was just a real friendly community, and a real good one too.
You mentioned baseball being very popular. You had a team in Lacoochee.
Yeah, we had a baseball team because Cummer financed part of it. Cummer bought the uniforms and the bats and bought the balls, and that we had a very good team in Lacoochee. We was one of the lead teams in Central Florida.
So who did you play?
Well, we played Dade City. We played Zephyr Hills. Played San Antonio. I played Wildwood. Played Crystal River. Bushnell.
Anybody ever go on to the majors?
We had a guy named Carmen Thompson that headed for the majors. He got to the minor, and he was an outstanding ball player. And World War II came along, and they drafted him, and he got killed as a paratrooper. And then after him came Mudcat Grant. Mudcat Grant is from Lacoochee. Well, he's not from Lacoochee. He's got an area that we call Mosstown. He's from Mosstown.
So he went on to the majors.
He went up majors, pitched in the World Series, and won.
How about that?
He's still here, by the way, too. He still comes in every now and then.
Is that right? So he's still alive?
Yep.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mentioned your dad's store a while ago, and why don't we go back to that? The kind of things he sold, some of the issues. I guess it was kind of a meeting place for folks.
Well, he had a what we called a drugstore, but there was no drugs. It was all patent medicine, and he had a ice cream counter, and he had Coca-Colas, handmade, no bottles, and he had perfume. He had hosiery. He had about anything you could think of except prescription medicine. And the way he devised his inventory was what people asked for. If he got 2 or 3 people to ask for something, he'd get it. And the reason that I guess there's several reasons that it was a main center. Dad had a pretty good personality, and then on top of that, he had the only ice water in town that people could get for free, and he had a big fan, and he had a chair to sit down in front of that fan. So in the morning, the women would gather there and talk, and in the afternoon after work, the men would gather and talk. He had a radio, and there wasn't any television. He had a radio, and they'd listen to the World Series, and they'd come down at night and listen to the news. It was just a general gathering place for most everybody, one time or other.
Yeah, a lot of people cannot imagine Florida before air conditioning. So what was it like back then? There was no air conditioning. There was no way to control mosquitoes.
Huh.
How was that? How was the environment?
It was pretty rough. Mosquitoes were. We had screen porches and stuff like that, but mosquitoes were pretty rough when you were out, and you had to go out. There wasn't no way out of that. And we had little fans, no big ones, and when you got on a mattress during the middle of the summer, it was like getting on a heating pad. And it was rough. It really was. But everybody had to suffer it. And what makes heat so bad is when you get cold, it makes heat worse. If you've been hot all day and been sweating all day and you dirty and sweaty, it doesn't bother you as much because you're already wet and you're already hot.
Any thoughts that you'd like to comment on about what went on in the community way back then, or what's different about the community today that you know that you're not happy to see, or you're happy to see?
The communities now are isolated. Each house is just about a kingdom of its own. Too often, you don't know who your neighbor is, and worse than that, you don't really care. In Lacoochee, it was one big family. Martha Walters Barnett, who became the national president of the Bankers Association, in her speech, she said that you didn't have to worry about Lacoochee. If you did something wrong as a kid, you didn't have to tell your parents. They knew it before you got home. And if I did something wrong at one of my friends' houses, the lady who was in charge, or the man, would pick me up and tan my hide. And it usually was 2 for 1. As kids, if one of us got a spanking, the other one involved also got a spanking. It was kind of an equal opportunity spanking association. It was really good though. Nobody. I can't think of anybody that ever caused any trouble, except that, they would make sure you got the proper punishment. Nobody. It was all one. It was it was a big community. It wasn't like it is now.
Yeah,
You knew everything, and the rumors were all over town in a matter of minutes, and they knew who was doing what and when and where, and it was just one big family. One big family.
well,
I still miss it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Am I a movie star now?
You are a movie
Are you
star.
going to put me on the Walk of Fame?
Yeah, but you gotta do one thing for me. You have to sign for me.
Fishing boats
Fishing,
over there.
yeah.
That's right.
And-
Well, sponging too. Sponging.
Not in Hudson.
Not in
It's
Hudson.
up in Tropic Springs.
Okay. Well, no, but okay. Go ahead. There's
And then
there was
in
a sponge
Newport,
industry. up there.
Newport Richie, they were trying to make it into the second Hollywood
The
of
movie
America.
capital
That's right.
of Florida.
Yeah, and it didn't work. But we had a payroll. Dade City had a payroll. That's what made us different from anybody else. We had a payroll, 1,400 people.
Yeah.
That was a considerable amount of people in that time.
That was a great payroll too.
Yeah.
More beer.
We'll be in touch. Jenny was going to be on today.
Let me show you this one picture. You didn't see it. You didn't see this one. This is Lacoochee in about 1957. This is new.
Okay.
This is Lacoochee.
How about that?
That building right there, this guy was swept off of an island down in the Keys, and they never found him when he worked for the CCC.
In the hurricane, maybe?
Yeah, and that's that building. And then this is Bradman's building, or Farrell building. This is my dad's building. That's the picture show that we had. That's Greek Gus that I told you about, and that's Trilby Gus. This was the May building. He moved from this building to this one.
This is the main train that came through town?
We had 2 of them. This
Yeah.
is the main one, yeah. We had the goat that came through on this track every day.
How about that?
Every day. That was a great town.